Well, good morning. It's nice to see you everybody here this morning, and it's a privilege to be out the front speaking. Now today I'm going to talk about fathers. Now some people might say, but you're not a father. That's pretty obvious because I'm a mother. But I have a lot of experience of fathers, starting first of all with my own father. Who was he? Well, my father, and everybody's father, is a blueprint for understanding the Father. And he really is someone that I credit with my being able to see the Father, our God. Because who he was to me and my brothers made it easy for me to see who our Father in heaven is. And that's quite an accolade, because a lot of fathers fall well short of this standard. Now, my father, as far as I know, did not give his life to Christ, and it is a sadness to me. I have hope, however, because the week before he died, we had a conversation. And in that conversation, after about 10 years, 11 years, of saying I was wrong to take my daughters to church, wrong to indoctrinate them in a religion, and wrong to bring them up in Christ, he said to me, I think you were right, after all. And that meant so much to me, that he said that just the week before he died. And isn't that a reflection of what we want to hear from our Father when we arrive in heaven? Well done, good and faithful son. And how I felt in that moment is a reflection of how I will feel when I face our Father in heaven. So my father was absolutely not a perfect man. He had many, many flaws. But he was definitely a father. He was not a daddy. He was not a Father Christmas. He was a father. He brought correction to each and every one of us. And I would say that my understanding of integrity and my brother's understanding of integrity came directly from his understanding and correction to us. Sometimes he could be a daddy. Sometimes he could be Father Christmas, giving us many gifts. But mostly he was a father. And that's how we need to see our Father in heaven. Now, as fathers, you need to reflect our Father in heaven. Now, my dad was loving in his own way. I remember him taking a slipper to us. I remember him taking his belt to us. I remember him shouting at my brothers. But he did it from love. He corrected. He disciplined. Yeah, and sometimes he was harsh. But I'll tell you now, not any one of us suffered because of that. We were all better adults, even though at times he might have been a little harsh. You know, he did things that others would have judged him for. And you know, as fathers, you definitely need to be countercultural. So what does the Bible say? Titus 1:5-9. The reason I left you in Crete was that you might put in order what was left unfinished. Appoint elders in every town as I directed you. An elder must be blameless, faithful to his wife. Now that's an interesting one, because in today's world there's a lot of ways to be unfaithful to your wife other than sleeping with somebody else. We've boiled it all down to sex, because it's a very sexual world we live in. But you can be unfaithful to your wife, without actually having sex with somebody else. You can lust after someone else. You can spend more time and be more open with someone else. You can ignore your wife for somebody else's counsel. All of those are being unfaithful to your wife. A man whose children believe, and that's what I'm very proud of. My girls all believe, and I am so happy that they do. And I want each and every father that listens to this to know that happiness. because it really is a blessing from God to have all of your children believing. A man whose children believe and are not open to charges of being wild and disobedient. An overseer manages God's household. He must be blameless, not overbearing. Now, isn't that interesting? Right? Because it tells fathers, you don't go too far. Not overbearing. Discipline, yes, but discipline in love. Correction, not in anger, but in love. When we smack children in anger, it's to no effect. It just teaches them to be angry. Discipline is from love, and it is calm. Now, there's a Swiss study done in 2000, which is quite eye-opening, I have to say. Okay? It indicated that the influence of fathers on future attendance of church. When neither mum nor dad attend church, 81% of children don't either. Only 19% of people convert from non-believing households. 19%. When only mum attends regularly, that goes up to 39% of children attending. So if mum brings them, they've got an extra 20%, but it's still less than half. If we look at each and every one of our children, which one do you want to go to hell? If only mum is bringing them. But when mum and dad come, it's 74%. Only 1 in 4 fall by the wayside. And this is the stark contrast. When only mum brings them, 39%. If only dad brings the children, it is 67%. More children stay in church when dads bring them to church, either with or without mum. And that is mind-blowing. Dads today are told they are irrelevant. It doesn't matter what they do. But that is a lie from the devil. Mums, yes, mums do all the feeding and the cooking and the cleaning, and you might hang around the house thinking, oh, what can I do? What can you do is be there. Be there with the spiritual direction. Be there. A father who follows God's instructions, showing them that in daily life and bringing them to church. Now, I also looked at the Office of National Statistics, and I looked in the 90s. Why did I look in 1990? Why didn't I look at today's statistics? Because what was going on in 1990 has affected today's fathers. That's why I looked in 1990. 20% were single-parent families, and a further 20% were blended families. 15% were in non-married blended arrangements. That's 55% of families in the 90s, more than half, where fathers were either part-time or absent. So today's fathers are likely to have not had a father figure or to have had an absent father figure. And that again is chilling, because today's fathers, having not experienced a father, have no idea what our Father in heaven can be. And not experienced a father, it's much more difficult to be a father. Now notice I say difficult. It's very difficult, but you have to be a thoughtful father. If your father was absolutely awful, which some I've got to say are, then you have to be a thoughtful father. You have to think about what our Father in heaven would want. Today's fathers do not have an understanding. Physically present, okay? Physically present, but spiritually absent. How many fathers today go home, go up to a games room and play games? Their children thinking that when they get old enough, that's what they will do too. How many fathers come home and go to the shed to build, well, I don't know, to build a train station? How many fathers come home and go to a different room? They come home and they do not spend time with their sons. And that is a tragedy. Spending time with children is the biggest thing you can give them. Sat watching a TV programme. Oh look, the baddies get locked up in prison. I mean, it might sound harsh, what I'm about to say. Now, look, that's what happens to baddies. Don't be a baddie to a 3-year-old. Don't be a baddie, be a goodie. Yeah? And I know it might sound harsh. I was once told that I was a bit harsh when I told Jodie, look, because she kept running into the road when she was little, look, there's a squished ladybird. That's what'll happen to you if you keep running in that road. My friend was absolutely horrified. You can't say that. I can, it's true. It's absolutely 100% true. It is the truth. But if you are not there at those moments, how can you direct? You cannot. Now, back to my dad. Every Friday night, when we were kids, we met, because my mum was absent, my dad worked all week. We met on a Friday night in a local cafe when we were teenagers, and we had tea in the cafe. And then we went back home and we played Scrabble. Now, a lot of people would say, what on earth, tea in a cafe and Scrabble? What does that mean? I'm not putting anything in, but you are. You are putting you into your children. Doesn't have to be big conversations. Just by being with them, you are showing them that the Father cares. The Father wants to spend time. The Father is the head of the household. So what about fathers? Well, I've got 9 things. The love of the Father is the first thing. Unconditional, profound, and it mirrors God's love for us. Patience, grace, and understanding. I knew my dad loved me. I know the Father in heaven loves me. Yeah, we can encourage them, talk to them, not tell them they're being silly, tell them that was really good. What you just did was absolutely fantastic. They need the father's time as well as the mother's time. And they learn best by watching it done. Now, fathers are the first role model for children on how to treat mothers and women. If the father respects the wife, the children will respect the mother. If the father does not respect the wife, the children will not respect the mother. The mother spends time cooking. Yes, it's her job, but you should say thank you and direct the children. Thank you for that lovely meal, Mum. Take your plates to the sink. Get them to take their plates to the sink. Just have appreciation. Thank you, darling. That was lovely. I appreciate what you have done. Doug always washed up. I made the meals, he washed up. And as they got older, the girls joined him. Fell off when they had their own families, but as they got older, they joined him. They took over, washing up. Chores are good for children, and they can do them. They can scrape their plates, because it's a demonstration of love. And that's how you you tell them about it. I remember a friend of mine when the girls were about 12, 13, something like that, early teenage years. And she said, mine have chores. I said, do they? She said, yes, they have chores in the house. They each have a set chore. I thought, okay. I said, mine don't. She said, well, she said, what? You mean you clean their bedrooms? I said, oh, no, don't get me wrong. They clean their bedrooms, but it's a privilege, not a chore. It's their bedroom, and if they keep it tidy, I will stay out of their space and give them their privacy. It's a privilege. She called it a chore. I called it a privilege. I think I know who was right. One thing my dad did teach me, you are a family, and a family is a reflection of the church family. And in a family, we work together. We pull together. Yeah? My dad said that we all had to work together. He had a rota on the fridge. We all had to cook. Oh my goodness me. Whatever we cooked, we all had to eat. Oh my goodness, it was terrible. He wouldn't let Uncle Anthony, my younger brother Ant, not have a turn cooking. He burnt baked beans. Have you ever eaten burnt baked beans? They are not nice. Yeah, but my dad was like, he'll never learn if he doesn't do it. Yeah, so we ate burnt baked beans on toast. That was the first thing he made us, and it was horrible. But including my dad, he didn't excuse himself. And we all got on at my brother, and next time he did better. Wash the beans when you're doing it, stir them. Next time he did better. Harsh by some standards, but the love of a father. Psalm 103:13. As a father has compassion on his children, so the Lord has compassion on those who fear him. Proverbs 3:12. The Lord disciples those he loves. As the father, the son he delights in. And Matthew 7:11. If you then, though you are evil, know how to give good things to your children, how much more will the Father in heaven give good gifts to those who ask? Fathers reflect the love of the Father. Fathers also give guidance, instruction. This morning, Israel was instructing Asher how to put the money properly in the bucket. Jamie was instructing Albert to stand straight in worship. Fathers give instruction, and it is needed. Mike was telling Edward what to do in worship, to pay attention. Fathers give instruction. And I've already said, I've talked about the baddies in their TV programmes. I always watched their TV programmes with them, as did Doug. And some of the things Doug hated. Absolutely hated, you can imagine. Teenage girls, oh boy, I don't know, rom-coms. It was a chore for poor Doug, but he watched and he talked to them about the issues that were raised. Our girls knew. I think Kirsty was about 5 or 6 when a friend of ours in church, her daughter became pregnant outside of marriage. And people were tiptoeing around my friend, not knowing how she would take it. Not Kirsty. Auntie Janet. Natasha's been really naughty having a baby when she's not married, hasn't she? Yes, darling. But it's okay, you still love her. Yes, darling. It's okay. We still love her. And we talked through. Marriage first, then babies. And they knew. At 6, she knew. Marriage first, then babies. But she also knew about grace. She knew that the daughter had done the wrong thing. And she knew that the love of the father, the love of the mother, would not be too much, that forgiveness would happen. And we need to put that into our children. And fathers do that. Fathers put it in, and when their children fall, fathers correct and guide, but they don't hammer. They don't destroy. Proverbs 22:6. Start children off on the way they should go, and even when they are old, they will not turn from it. Deuteronomy 6:6-7. These commandments that I give you today are to be on your hearts. Impress them on your children. Talk about them when you sit at home and when you walk along the road, when you lie down and when you get up. There's always an opportunity. If it's on your heart, impart it to their heart. And you can't do that without the number one, the love. Fathers, do not embitter your children. Now, why is that in the Bible? Because it's an area that fathers can slip up on. Being that little bit too harsh, maybe. Don't make them bitter. Number 3, the importance of presence. To be there. And I touched on this slightly, didn't I? A little bit important to turn up physically, to be there, to listen to them. And it's pretty much what I've been saying. Ephesians 6:4. Fathers, do not exasperate your children. Instead, bring them up in the training and instruction of the Lord. Don't make it a chore. I remember when I was must have been about 14. My dad was cleaning the gutters, and it was a 2-storey house, and he put this ladder up, and he said to me, do you want to go up and have a go? And I looked. I've never liked heights, never. And I said, well, actually, Dad, I'm a bit scared. I prefer not to. He said, oh, that's okay, love. Go and make a cup of tea. I said, oh, thank you. And as I walked off, he said to my brother, go on then, up you go. And my brother said, actually, I'm a bit scared, Dad. Yeah? And my dad clipped him round the ear and said, get up there, you'll be all right. A lot of people would say, that's sexy. Yes, absolutely. Because sons and daughters have different needs and responsibilities, And if he hadn't have set my brother up there, my brother might have set himself up for a fear of heights forever. And my brother had no fear of heights. He had no fear of anything, But yeah, it wasn't exasperating, but it was a difference, You have to be present. You have to be there. And there in different ways for your sons and daughters. And sons and daughters suffer differently when they don't have a father. Daughters need you as much as sons. I would not have let go of the girls' bikes when Douglas did, teaching them to ride. I would not have. Fathers. Number 4, discipline. That's a bad word, isn't it? I remember one of my students at school said to me, I know my grandma loves me, she never tells me off. I thought, that's not love. Because when you love, you discipline, because there's one eye on the future man or woman that you are bringing up. Now, I'm pretty bad as a grandparent, I don't like to tell them off at all. I don't like when they cry, But I'm not the parent, thankfully. They have decent parents, But it's thoughtful. And it's never in anger. Exploding in anger and smacking children in anger teaches them to be angry. Telling them, you've done X, Y, Z and it deserves a smack, that's fine. I am a proponent of smacking children. If this goes on the internet, I might get a flood of people, child abuse. There's a world of difference between child abuse and loving discipline that includes a smack. Huge difference. People who abuse children will abuse children whether you allow smacking or not. It won't solve a problem. People who smack do so as a quick, immediate consequence for whatever that child is doing. And in my view, a quick smack is way kinder than what a lot of people want to do, which is send them out of the way and isolate them for half an hour or whatever. Psychologically, get out of my sight is actually worse. I remember when I was a child, a teacher said to me, I'd done something at school that was a bit naughty. I could be naughty back then. And they gave me a choice. 5 canes on my hand or tell my dad. Do you know what I chose? Oh yes, hand was straight out for those 5 canes. Oh yes, I was, no, do not tell my dad. You know, whatever you do, don't tell my dad. You know, because I knew it would be worse. I would feel worse, him just knowing what I'd done. Because I loved him, and I wanted him to tell me I was doing well. And most children do. Yeah? Now, fathers also endure hardship, Hebrews 12:7. Endure hardship as discipline. God is treating you as his children. For what children are not disciplined by their father? My father endured hardship for us. I know there were days when he did not eat in order to let us eat. I know there were days when he did things that he didn't want to do for us. Yeah, and that's a father. The head of the household is not a king that everybody bows down to. The head of the household is the servant who endures hardship and looks after his family. He is the shepherd. The shepherd doesn't get all the sheep to cook for, to serve him as a king. The shepherd looks after that flock. Our Father in heaven looks after us. The father of the household looks after his family, and that involves hardship and sacrifice. Time, energy, sometimes food if your finances are tight. The children and the mother, the father looks after them and endures hardship on their behalf. Proverbs 19:18, discipline your children, for in that there is hope. Do not be a willing party to their death. Discipline leads to the Father in heaven. And Proverbs 13:24, whoever spares the rod hates their children, but the one who loves their children is careful to discipline them. Because we want them to go to heaven. I had another student say to me once, how can you tell me I'm going to hell? That's nasty of you. You know, hey, look, I'm not telling you you're going to hell. I'm telling you that this set of actions will take you to hell. You are the one making the choice. This set of actions will take you to heaven. Now, if I can tell a stranger's child that, of course I told my own. Fathers need to tell their children, do not do things that will take you to hell. Do the things that will take you to heaven. But not just speak it, live it. Show them. Do not be selfish. Do not take everything. Do not lead them to the hell. Fathers are called to be the spiritual leaders of the family, modelling a life of faith and prayer. Now, I pray for all of my grandchildren, but I have decided that actually, they don't know that. And I've challenged myself to pray more as opportunities come with them. So Heather went back to work, and on the way to school with Asher, I prayed for his day because he was struggling, spending all day. A minute ago, Autumn's foot is hurting, and I just prayed a quick prayer with her. Because praying with them will be so much more powerful than just praying for them. I can be in my room at home praying for them, but what do they know of that? Grandma loves them so much. The Bible is so right. I can't tell you that I didn't believe it, Grandchildren are the love of a grandparent's heart, the joy, and they really are. And I want them to see God in their grandma, as well as their parents. But that's what fathers need to do too, when it comes up. The Father is the indicator of the Father in heaven. We show them how to pray by praying. Joshua 24, 15. But if serving the Lord seems undesirable to you, then choose for yourselves this day whom you will serve. But as for me and my household, we will serve the Lord. And I remember Doug saying that when the girls were much, much younger. For me and my household. And he definitely demonstrated that as they were growing up. They saw Dad reading his Bible. They saw Dad praying. Dad prayed with them, prayed for them. Psalm 78:4, we will not hide them from their descendants. We will tell the next generation. And 1 Peter 5:2-3, the shepherds. There it is. Fathers are the shepherds of God's flock. Children are the next generation. And fathers, it's about giving time. They don't just need food, they need time. And I've used that phrase that I hate, quality time, because I hate it because people use it for not spending much time these days. Countercultural, I don't mean that. I mean give your time. Read the Bible with them, just for 2 minutes if they're very little. Look at this today. Play games with them. As I said, my father played Scrabble with us every week. I was very good at Scrabble, and I still enjoy the game today. Isn't that strange? But in that game, turn-taking, being happy when somebody else wins, it's all involved. Children are really a gift that shape our lives, and we shape their lives. Ecclesiastes 3:1. There is a time for everything, and a season for every activity under the heavens. A season to sleep, a season to wake, a season to work, a season to play. A working father shows children they need to work. A serving father shows children they need to serve. Proverbs 15:17, better a small serving of vegetables with love than a fattened calf with hatred. Isn't that lovely? I just love the image of that. So what am I saying? I'm saying that fathers are essential. The world knows it. They've done the research. I know it. I had a good father. But because of the way that society has gone from the 90s, many people have not had a good father. And fathers are being sidelined and pushed away and told they are irrelevant. But we are here to stand against that. Fathers are essential. Not just relevant, but you cannot do without the father. Single parents can do a good job if they have no father, but they're working hard because they're just alone. They need the father. Children need the father. We all need a father. And fathers, it's time to stand up and be proud to be that father. Not a wimp. Watching MasterChef last night, and this guy that won, I quite liked him all the way through, and then he started crying. I mean, okay, I know guys are supposed to cry too now, but he just won a TV show. I mean, come on, have some backbone, I know it's terrible of me, but there you go. Be a father. Direct, love, protect, and discipline. Thank you for listening, and we'll take this up again next time.